It is Thursday, the 20th of September 2018. Just finished two meetings. First was full council, and second was a ceremony for appointing a retired councillor as a freeman. So I'll come back to that one in a minute, but back to full council. We had various items on the agenda, and some things that weren't on the agenda but I raised anyway. One of which was the Cabinet report, because that had nothing yet again about the housing strategy that this council is meant to implement from next year. And we have very little time left to get this strategy in place. The current strategy ends at the end of this year, and I raised this at the full council in May, and then at the full council in July. And Malcolm Brain, who is the councillor responsible for housing, said at the July meeting that he was waiting for officers to come forward with ideas. And I didn't really accept that as a suitable answer, but I didn't say anything at the time because I decided, well, let's see what happens and expect something at the September meeting of council. Well, nothing happened. So I don't think that it is the role of the political leadership to wait for officers to come forward with ideas. The people coming forward with the ideas for the policies should be the political leadership. They should be the drivers for this, not the passengers. The officers are there to implement or to draw up the details and implement the plans, not to spoon feed cabinet members who should be doing that job themselves. So there were words were had about that, and also words were had about something that was on the cabinet report, which was about plastic or single-use plastic. And it was saying that the council has to find ways of reducing the amount of single-use plastic that it uses. That is the biscuit. It's a biscuit that is handed out, or that you get with your tea and coffee at the start of every meeting of the council. It's individually wrapped. Why, oh why, are we having individually wrapped biscuits with a huge amount of packaging overall across every biscuit? It must amount to a huge amount of packaging over a period of time. So the council actually has to start looking a bit more closely at some of the things that it does, and it's not acceptable to be handing out these at the start of council meetings. If they insist on biscuits, and frankly they don't need biscuits at the start of a meeting, we don't get elected to eat biscuits, but if you insist on having biscuits, just get them from a packet and put them on a plate, for goodness sake. So I made a noise about that as well. So there's various other issues raised, and but overall there was a general consensus that certainly on this we're going to have to look again at what we're doing. And then after the meeting we had the ceremony for the appointment of Peter Mole as a new freeman of the borough. And he retired from the council early this year, after 42 years as a member of the council. So I've got 11 years to go before I can catch up with him. And when he was first elected back in 1976, it was a time when I was still at school. In fact, I hadn't even done my O-levels at that point. So it was a year when we won the Eurovision Song Contest, and there was a heat wave just like this year. And we've got a heat wave at the minute. It's chucking it down out there now. So anyway, I was there as leader of the opposition to speak in support of his appointment. And I rather like Peter as well, because he could have gone off for an easy life decades ago, done a few terms on the council, and then just retired, and not have to continue making the sacrifices that you do make when you are a councillor. Well, he chose to stay on, and he was chairman of all sorts of different committees. He was on the council's cabinet as well. So I think it was quite worthy of the freemanship of the borough, and I was pleased to be able to speak in support of him. Anyway, I'm looking around now. Yeah, it's still raining, so I'm going to have to head home now, and I've got casework to do when I get home.